Welcome to the Miami Sports Vibes YouTube channel, here to discuss a recap on the first preseason game that is in the books already. The Dolphins, Chicago Bears ended up in a tie, but you guys that are watching this pretty damn sure know that it doesn't matter if we win or lose preseason games. We want to know who did well, who didn't do well, and what the analysis is. I'm going to break it down for you from my perspective. Listen, first of all, Tua started this game, which I was a huge fan of. I heard a lot of people kind of saying that, why would you risk injury? Why would you do this? Why would you do that? Listen, I'm at a camp where, similar to what Omar Kelly said, that, hey, man, you got punched in the mouth for 3 interceptions and they were punking you in joint practices. You kind of want to get your lick back in the preseason. One drive is all he played, guys. So relax. And I thought it was fine, man. I thought it showed something, man. It showed that Tua wanted to go out there and respond, and all respect to him. I'm a total believer. It's like, you can't protect these guys forever, man. It's football. It's a grown man sport. If you get hit and it's an injury, listen, man, if you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hurt, to be honest with you, man. You cannot predict that from happening week 1 or by sitting out a preseason game or sitting out a drive. Listen, I'm not with that, man. So all respect to Tua for at least showing up and going through that first drive. Did I like how the first drive went? I'm going to be honest with you. I did not. I did not see things that I can take and be like, damn, Tua looked great, man. I really, really enjoyed that first drive, because it didn't result in any points. Empty possessions, man, to be honest with you. But let's start it off first with the first team defense, because they were on the field first. Anthony Weaver had them boys ready. A 3-and-out on the first drive. That was awesome to see. That had me fired up. The front four, we talk about that, right? Having Bradley Chubb out there, Zach Sealer, Kenneth Grant. Listen, man, that front four looked awesome. In the brief stints that we saw, they looked awesome. Talk about pressure being produced, man. They were just getting after it. Willie Gay, a guy who has been awesome in training camp, who everybody has been talking about, he picked up a sack on the first drive as well. That was awesome to see. Now turning it over to the offense. First of all, first play, Larry Burham with a penalty to just start, after penalties were an issue in that joint practice just a couple days before. We talked about cleaning those things up in the preseason. Obviously, a bad start with the very first play on offense being a penalty. And the Dolphins had plenty of penalties, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. You led into a 4th down situation. Ultimately, it looked like it was going to go 3-and-out. But then Malik Washington, who had an awesome day, by the way, he really caught my eye. And that's a guy who I kind of have been sleeping on. Haven't really been hearing too much about him. I know the potential is there. I know they want him to be wide receiver 3. But I've been talking about D. Eskridge a lot. But listen, I give props and respect to Malik Washington, my man, because this dude looked like he was ready, man. 4th down conversions, 3rd down conversions in that first drive. He looked awesome. I like the way he was just moving out there and the way he was getting open. Huge respect to him, and huge respect to the other Washington. Taj Washington also getting into the mix, making some big time plays there. Love to see that. Devon Achane, I thought he had some explosive runs in the first drive. He looked really good. And Tua started to kind of settle a little bit midway through the drive, leading them to the goal line. But ultimately, I didn't really like what I really saw. You can argue it was probably Mike McDaniel's play calling. It seemed very, very conservative, which is no surprise, honestly. Mike McDaniel and his play calling. Preseason game 1. Let me give it some time. Let me not overthink things. All right. But at the end of the day, we got to the goal line on the first drive. I said, all right, give me 7 points and I'll feel good about this. Listen, man. You were about at the 2-yard line. You get 4 straight runs on first down, 2nd down, 3rd down, 4th down, all to Jalen Wright, and he could not get in the end zone. You go for it on 4th and goal. You ran it again, the same play, and he got stood up, man. To me, that's a letdown. Jalen Wright, bad day. Already had a shaky camp going in. Definitely didn't like that start. And then Tua failed to put up points on the board, man, and Mike McDaniel and the first team offense. Obviously, after getting pretty much owned in the joint practice, I really wanted to see the Dolphins respond in that first drive. Obviously, the result of the game doesn't matter, but I wanted my boys to go out there in the first drive and put up some points, man. So, shaky drive, 4th down situations, penalties, and then getting stuffed on a goal line stand. Ultimately, I didn't like that performance, man. But the second outing for the defense, 3rd and out again, man. I mean, I'm telling you, Weaver had them boys ready. Really liked what I saw from Kenneth Grant as well. I thought he made an impact on today's game. The offensive line started to look a little bit better, but still a little shaky. Zach Wilson came into the game after that, delivered a nice little pass to Westbrook Akine, which was nice to see, ultimately leading to a touchdown on Zach Wilson's first drive. But Zach Wilson is pretty much, I realize Zach Wilson is Zach Wilson. He is exactly the same quarterback that we've seen struggle with the Denver Broncos and the same quarterback that we've seen struggle with the New York Jets. He has his limitations. He has a strong arm. He can run with his legs. But ultimately, he is a guy that holds the ball for way too long and takes sacks like there's no tomorrow. And it is so frustrating. I think he got sacked about 4 or 5 times in this preseason opener. Not a good look for Zach Wilson, who ultimately has had a pretty good camp. But then again, in training camp, you're not hitting the quarterback. All right. It's a different game now when you're playing these real preseason games. So Zach's got to clean that up. But ultimately, man, I thought it was an entertaining first half. I mean, listen, the Washingtons really stood out to me, Taj and Malik, to be honest with you. Really like what I saw from them. And how about the defense as well? Defense as a whole, from the front line pressure that we talked about, Kenneth Grant in particular, Willie Gay picking up a sack in that first half, and then Ethan Bonner, a guy who's had a pretty solid camp. He deflected a pass that ultimately landed on Pat McMorris's hands with an interception right before the half ended, which was good to see. Ethan Bonner, we talk about those DBs. Who's going to be the guy to stand out? Ethan Bonner, a guy who's been productive in training camp, hasn't really relayed to, getting these plays in these type of games. So the fact that he's got his hands on the ball, he doesn't get credit for the interception. But we know by him putting his hands out there, ultimately led to the Dolphins turnover. And second half, I saw sparks from a couple of different guys. Quinn Ewers came into the game. Not a good start from him, to be honest with you. Fumbling the ball. Just, these throws looked a little off. Some of them were the receivers' fault at the end of the day. But listen, Quinn Ewers, man, potential is there. The training camp flashes, we've seen it. But please don't tell me that he's anywhere near Tua's level. All right? And I'm not saying Tua is like elite by any means necessary. I'm not saying that. Tua is, probably top 10, top 12 quarterback in the NFL out of 30 plus. Like that's not bad. But Quinn Ewers is nowhere close to the level of Tua. So let that be a reminder. Now it's just opening preseason game, of course. But at the end of the day, there's red flags there. Some good things, a lot of bad things. But the potential is there. I still like Quinn Ewers, but a little bit of a shaky game for the most part. Ollie Gordon, I thought he stood out. I mean, my God, he runs like with force, man. Getting into a touchdown, that big time run in the goal line. Love to see that. And even catching the ball on 4th down for some extra yardage. He's just a tough dude. I'm telling you, the way Jalen Wright looked, he had a bunch of carries, minimal yardage, and getting stuff 4 straight times, not getting into the end zone, really, really rubbed me the wrong way, man. Alexander Madison got in for a score. He's probably RB2. But, man, Ollie Gordon, going forward long term, I like that Achane and then Gordon for short yardage in the future. I really like that 1-2 punch with them more than I like the kind of Jalen Wright mix in here. Now, plenty of time to turn things around. But the way camp has been going for Jalen Wright and the way that preseason game, I don't know if I like it. No overtime. The game ended up in a tie at 24-24 for those of you guys that are interested in scores, but scores don't really matter. But those are my takeaways from the opening preseason game. And, room for improvement, no doubt. But let's look at the stats, man. So ultimately, as I mentioned, Zach Wilson, he finished 5 for 9 for 96 yards. He did run, scrambled 2 carries for 16 yards, including an 8-yard run, which was pretty much what Zach Wilson does. Tua finished 5 for 6 for 27 yards on his first drive. Quinn Ewers, 5 for 18, 91 yards. See, as I mentioned, and Zach Wilson also took 4 sacks. Quinn Ewers took 2 sacks, and he also fumbled the football. So not good. Ollie Gordon, 8 carries for 33 yards and a touchdown. Devon Achane, 3 carries for 22 yards. No surprise there. You know what he can do. And Jalen Wright, you see he has a touchdown, but 9 carries for 16 yards and a goal line stand. Stock down for me, my friend. Stock down for me. Taj Washington, as I mentioned, catching 3 out of his 4 targets for 53 yards. Ollie Gordon with a 39-yard catch, and that was on 4th down, which is, You got some big time, attitude to make that type of catch. And then Westbrook Akine with a 35-yard catch. Alexander Madison with a 21-yard reception. Like to see that. And Malik Washington catching all 4 of his targets. 18 yards. Okay. Doesn't look too nice, but they were big time plays. They were impactful plays. They were something that you could look forward to and say, damn, I kind of got something there. Quinn Ewers, like I mentioned, 2 fumbles. Don't like to see that. Channing Tindall was like a deer in headlights out there. You look at the 6 total tackles, but I'm ready to move on. Kenneth Grant with 4 tackles. I told you he was big time. And then I want to touch on the things that I wanted this team to improve on, which were those penalties. And I have to note that to you guys here that the Dolphins ended up with 10 total penalties, giving up 68 yards. They also did not dominate time of possession. They lost a couple 4th downs. They fumbled the ball twice. They turned the ball over. These are ugly things that are going to bite you in the behind come in the regular season. Dolphins have to clean these things up. The good news is you got 2 joint practices coming up against Detroit, against a Dan Campbell team who is tough as hell. So you're going to have opportunity there. And then you're also going to have the preseason game. And then this is probably going to be the dress rehearsal against the Detroit Lions. So take this serious. You got a lot of things that you've put on tape in with the combination of the joint and this preseason game. Go clean those things up. Take advantage of these 2 joint practices and this preseason game. And let's see this evaluation that we get of the Dolphins after this next week coming up. Big week coming up. Plenty of opportunity to fix things. I'm still optimistic that this team can figure this thing out because we are far, far from the finished product. All right. Not the prettiest thing, but still a lot of things to be hopeful for. Still a lot of things that excited me in particular. Let me know what you guys think. Guys, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up button to support the channel as well. Let me know your thoughts on this preseason game 1 and what you expect moving forward. Are you guys optimistic on what this team is trying to push out there for you guys? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.